Welcome back to the Start to Finish course on upgrading to .NET Core. We are currently in the module focused on the actual update of our application. In this lesson, we're going to be converting our WPF project over to .NET Core 3.0. So let's go to our Visual Studio, and right now we have the Tracker UI still enabled as the startup project, and we have the WPF UI as the one that's unloaded. So let's reload this first, and let's look at this project. Well, first of all, let's go to our references and manage our NuGet packages, and we have Caliburn Micro installed, and it's version 3.1.0. Notice that we have a 3.2, a 4.0, Alpha 1, and Alpha 4.0.62 is the latest preview. And the latest release, the stable one, is 3.2. So there's some updates to do, but if we look down here, we'll notice that it does have some .NET standard support, but there'll be some problems, I think, going forward. We're going to get into that in a little bit, but just know that Caliburn Micro is installed. And now let's look down here and notice we have packages.config. Again, this is something that we need to upgrade to the new way of doing things. So let's right-click and say migrate packages.config to package reference. And that puts it inside of the CS_proj file. So we'll do that and say OK. And that has now moved that over to the CS_proj file. So following the footsteps of what we've done already with our WinForm project, let's right-click. We can't modify this CS_proj file, so we have to unload the project again, and right-click and say Edit. And now in here are all the settings for our WPF project. Note that it looks a lot like the WinForm project. So output of WinExe. That doesn't mean it's a WinForm. It means that it's an executable file that's outputting. And it's a version 4.5.2 of the .NET framework. That's a pretty old version. We have a different debug and release versions of our build. We have our references. There's a lot of references here that are to Windows or Microsoft stuff. Don't need to worry about that. And then all of our different files. And then down here, our reference to the CS_proj file. For this one, we're not going to put this in manually. We'll do it using the UI once we reload the project. So with that being said, let's Control A and delete everything. Again, since we have a copy of this entire solution somewhere else, we don't have to save this off in a notepad. This would be something normally it's save in a notepad and then redo and then bring things back in from notepad. But since we have it saved somewhere else, if we have to refer back to the original CS_proj file, we can do that. All right, so just like the WinForm project, we're going to take basically the same settings. So let's go to the WinForm project and just copy and paste. I copy this, come back over here. This is the WPF project. I'm going to paste it in, but there's a few changes. It's not use Windows Forms, it's use WPF. And we'll set that to true. Okay, so the rest is the same. I'm going to take out this item group. I know that we could leave it here and that would be just fine and work, and that's our reference. But I want to do that using the front end instead, just to show the differences. So now we have the Windows desktop. We have a win.exe output. We have .NET Core 3.0 as our target framework. We're using WPF, not Windows Forms. And we are not generating assembly info. reloading. Can't find Caliburn Micro. That's because I have not referenced it. So if we right click and say Manage NuGet Packages and search for Caliburn.micro, if I can spell, and install the latest version, the pre-release version. We'll install that, and this version is 4.0.62. You may have a slightly different version depending on when you watch this video. So now you'd think and we have down here the handle method, but it's not handle async. So there's some changes we have to do because Caliburn Micro changed in a somewhat significant way since version 3.1. So version 4 indicates a major change or a major breaking change probably. And so we just decided to upgrade to it because that's what .NET Core 3 is going to need probably is the latest version. And that has broken some things. This is what happens when you're using NuGet packages. It's the benefit and the drawback a little bit. The benefit is that when you're using a NuGet package, you don't have to upgrade to a later version. So you can continue to use 3.1, and as long as it works for you, you're good to go. Any breaking changes that come out don't affect you because you haven't upgraded past version 3.1. However, when you decide to upgrade, there may be some breaking changes that you have to then change code to handle. And so instead of doing it in this video, we're going to go to the next video for debugging. We're going to figure out how to fix all these broken issues because of the Caliburn Micro major update. But we still have something left to do, and that is if we go to the app.config, we'll notice that we have a system.net section here. That's going to need to go, just like in our WinForm project. So we can get rid of that, and we can come over to our tracker UI and look at its app.config and copy these values we created and put it into this app config as well. That way, if we're running our WPF application, our class library will still work. Because we use the same class library. So the same code for SMTP will still be used irrespective of if we use our WinForm UI or our WPF UI. The only changes we had to make were in the app.config file because that's where the settings get pulled from the library. The library says, give me this setting, and it goes to the app.config. It's now version 3.0. So if we go to properties, it's off a screen here. There we go. Properties. It's .NET Core 3.0 is the target framework. So we have successfully upgraded. It's just that we depend on a tool, a package that we have to make some changes because that dependency has some breaking changes. So we'll fix those in the next lesson.